Let's bring in our CBS 13 political analyst, Gary Dietrich, now for a look at what we can expect tonight. Gary, always good to see you. I know it's busy. I know you've been so excited about this night. Let's start with voter turnout. How is it looking? Are people getting off their tails and going to vote?
Well, it looks like they are getting off their tails, Tony, because the numbers are large. I mean, even before we hit Election Day, 45 million plus, that's how many Americans had already voted. And right now we know that looking like across the country, the kind of interest that we've seen in the polls, where we had 70% of so-called the passion quotient, that is people who say, I'm very excited about voting, I'm following the race closely, that was amongst both Democrats and Republicans. It looks like that's turning out to be true.
A lot of interest. Well, we want to talk about two of the most expensive proposition campaigns that are on the ballot for us here. The gambling initiatives, Prop 26 and 27. Is this just the start of some of the big money that we'll be seeing pouring in to legalize sports gambling in California?
I'd put a gigantic yes bet on that, because this is a $52 billion a year industry in the U.S., according to stats from last year. $400 million, the most ever spent on these two proposition campaigns. The most recent polls show them both going down in flames. So guess what? They're likely to be back on the ballot in the next cycle, and maybe two.
Let's see some early signs that you're looking at for a possible red wave if it's happening. Maybe blue wave, but I know you're looking at Florida and seeing that could be a sign of maybe a good night for Republicans nationwide.
Yeah, well, Tony, we were talking about this in the newsroom, and that is that both, Governor DeSantis, who of course is now on the national stage, and Marco Rubio, both Republicans, running for re-election. The polls showed them leading, but not nearly. The most recent numbers I saw had DeSantis winning by 19 points. Now, that is substantially more. Same thing with Rubio. So that, and then microscopically, Miami-Dade County has gone Democratic in the past. That was voting for both of those candidates as well. That portends a good night for Republicans.